This is the church at Baslow. The church dates from the 13th century, although it had two major restorations during the Victorian period. Probably this tower is the most obvious part of the old church. The main body of the church will be where the restoration took place. This is an amazing graveyard. The stones here are of really good age and very readable, and that's not a common combination. Thomas Parker of Courbar, who died in 1791, aged 60 years, and his wife, who died in 1817, and then we have their daughter beneath that and their son. A very plain and very square piece of stone, and this is in memory of John Sykes of Courbar, who died in 1772, aged 54, and his wife followed in 1780, and their son in 1783, and then beneath that we've got grandsons mentioned. Mary, the wife of William Shaw of Baslow, 1815, aged 52, and then William himself, he died in 1831, aged 84. And again, beneath that we have other members of the family listed. This is George, the son of George and Elizabeth Elliot of Grillowfield, 1786, aged 61. This is Mary, the daughter of Joseph and Mary Glossop of Calver, 1845, aged 17. And then Joseph, 1853, aged 60. And then Mary beneath that, but the date seems to have been lost. James Hibbard died in 1861, aged 69, and his son Joseph, 1840, just 4 years. And then Anne, the husband of James, she died in 1884, aged 84. This one is to Robert Stafford, and it looks as though it's 1702. Interesting decoration at the foot of here. We have the crossed bones and a skull. At the top, I'm not quite making out what this is because it's a bit worn, but there's more carved into the stone. The church looks as though it's open, so we'll have a look inside. Inside it's quite dark, although the camera does quite well. Behind the altar are some very detailed carvings and inscriptions. There are a number of memorials on the wall. This one is Elizabeth, the wife of George Gardom of Burnell, and the daughter of the Reverend Robert Barker. She died in 1797. This is Mary Grundy, the daughter of John and Elizabeth Grundy, who died in 1764, I think. Thomas Garden died in 1817, and then Mary, his wife. High on the wall is this board detailing early charitable donations. Not possible to read with the eye, but the camera may pick up enough for you to read. And this one's so high on the wall. Well, that was the inside. Not so many memorials that we could photograph well. I did have a light with the camera, but it's such a large building, it was difficult to illuminate them properly. So we'll continue looking around the graveyard itself. Ralph Pennystone, 1835, aged 38, and Dorothy, the daughter of Ralph and Sarah, 1865, and then beneath that we've got some other members of the family. Part of the graveyard has been fenced off, and it looks as though it's a particularly unstable part of the ground because many of the stones are leaning considerably. So just a soft area of ground where the stones haven't survived so well. This stone is quite low in the ground, and we can only see Mary, the wife of Samuel, somebody beginning with M, but it's got the skull and crossbones at the top. Really nice script for Robert Stafford, who died in 1817, aged 50 years. Anne, the beloved wife of Alfred Lindop of London, and daughter of James and Mary Woodruff of Baslow, 1847, and their only child, who died in 1847, aged 6 months. Next to that is the memorial to Thomas, the son of James and Mary Woodruff, 1815, aged 1 year. And then James himself followed in 1849 and his wife in 1850. The body of William Gregory, late of Calver, who departed this life 1764, aged 54. And then we have a series of words or poems beneath until we come at the bottom to John Gregory, his son, or John Gregory, the son of Richard Gregory, 1781, aged 86. This one retains its iron railings, nice to see, and it's Agnes Gardom of Baslow, 1850. George Henry Coates of Baslow, 1883, in the 58th year of his age. He had an earnest desire to depart. I wonder what his wife thought of that. Mary Coates, his wife, she lived on a long time, nearly 40 years to 1921. Perhaps the tallest of the memorials here, and on its base, Frederick Stanton, 1849, 1910, and Harriet Stanton, his wife. This is a little different. In the top part, we have a metal plaque showing a couple standing and looking into the distance. Underneath we have the inscriptions: in loving memory of Eric Willis Eden, Winifred Emily Swindon, Willis Eden and Frances Mary Eden. A more modern stone, but they've brought the inscription out in relief. Henry James Bark, 1952, aged 76. Ethel Mary Bark, 1943. And then their daughter is listed underneath. A flowing script on this stone for William Hattersley of Baslow, 1897, aged 73. Sarah Hattersley, 1897, aged 71. And then Mary Hattersley, 1911, aged 83. I'm afraid there's a little bit of background traffic noise as the road through Baslow here is quite busy. It's an interesting graveyard, great interesting cemetery. because the stones are of a good age. This is one of the very worn stones, and that's a great shame because we've lost the inscription, and there was obviously something interesting carved in the top of the stone here. Looks like a grieving damsel. We can't see all the detail. Off to the side of the main churchyard is a new section containing the newer graves, and at the far end a garden of remembrance for those who are not buried here, but there are stones remembering them. Sometimes on these modern stones we get an image which tells us a little bit about the person concerned, and so on this stone we have a lovely collie dog called Archie. Obviously very important to the people who are buried here. This one's trying to bring a little bit of originality into the ordinary dark stones. This is shaped as a wheel. Kenneth Ronald Healy and Jane Alice Lister, his wife. This one has a story behind it. My dearly loved husband, Laurie Hawley, tragically killed. 14th of July 1988, age 58. She passed away many years later. And often tragically killed will be a road accident, because so many lives are lost on the roads. This very well looked after stone for Gordon Pinder has on the left there an image of an archer. I'm assuming that was his interest. Beneath that we have his wife, Joan Pinder. And last, and certainly not least, is the War Memorial. Unfortunately it faces the road, and if I'm to get a direct shot on it I'll have to stand in the middle of this very busy road. So I'll give you the best shot that I can get with the camera. There are the names of the men who gave their lives in World War I on three sides. There's 11 names here. There's another 13 on the rear side of the memorial. And then on the third side, another 12 names, and I hope you can see this. The sun is right into the camera. So we're looking at about 36, 37, 38 guys, possibly girls also, who gave their lives in World War I, who came from the area of Baslow. Quick gap in the traffic and I'll show you this shot. Well, that's all I have time for today in this village of Baslow in Derbyshire. I was just passing through and I saw the church and thought it worth having a look, and I'm pleased I did. It's a very nice spot and the stones are very readable. Take the time if you're down this way. It's not so far from Chatsworth House, so you could divert and see this along with Chatsworth. Till the next time.